Welcome to the stream. Welcome to the stream. Akufana kupona. Tutoke wote. Welcome to this channel, and I'm very happy to welcome you to this stream. Welcome to both of my channels. Welcome to camera 2, that is. Welcome to the Chariots of Fire, and welcome to my other channel, World of Our Own. I'm very happy to be here, and if you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. Welcome to both of my channels. I'm very happy to welcome you. So as I said, we just have 1 hour to talk about what is happening in our country, the politics of the day. We had started, we had started a stream just a few minutes ago, but there was a problem somewhere, so we had to start again. So welcome again, my dear brothers and sisters. If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment and tell me where you're watching me from. Welcome. So don't worry, we'll continue discussing what we were discussing before we started another stream. So welcome, guys, welcome. And I'm very happy to welcome you. And I said, I love politics. Separating me, Raymond and politics are like peas and carrots. I love, you cannot separate peas from carrots. I love politics. So if you understand that fact, you'll realize that I'm somebody who loves politics. All right. So if you join me, tell me where you're watching me from. All right. So we'll be talking about what is happening in our country, and of course, separating. As I was saying, separating me from politics. It's like myself and politics. We're like peas and carrots. I love the way peas and carrots. Yeah, it's separating me from politics. We're like peas and carrots. So definitely, for those who visit this channel every time, you'll know that you were expecting me to talk about the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua. How can I not talk about it? How can I not talk about that impeachment? How can I miss my favorite dish? How can I not eat? That's my favorite dish. So for those who come and visit our channel, you know very well that I love politics. I love even after from here, I'm going to discuss politics with my friends. Even after this stream, either if I'm not discussing the scripture, I'm discussing politics. Those are the only two things you will find me there. You will find me in those groups discussing politics. They know, they're even waiting for me. Some people are just somewhere waiting for me to go and show them, because they know When they are with me, when we are discussing politics, we'll discuss politics, good politics. All right? And they, of course, they know that I'm not arguing from a point of ignorance. I always argue from a point of knowledge. So we have so much to talk about. But first, you have seen what is happening in South Africa. Africans, you saw what happened, those people from Ghana and Nigeria, this week they are being, that they are what we call repatriation flights from, from South Africa. You see, there's a lot of xenophobia in South Africa. Mostly, in fact, they call other Africans makwere kwere, and it's very unfortunate because this kind of xenophobia. In fact, I'm very surprised that Africans, we don't like each other. There's a lot of xenophobia in South Africa, and it's very, very unfortunate. It's very, very unfortunate. In fact, I saw it never started this year. It started some other time last year, or in 2024, 2023, 2022. They were banning this chain of supermarkets called ShopRite. ShopRite, they were banning that, in South Africa. They were looting from that ShopRite, but you see, I think that is something that is very, very scary when you see Africans turning onto other Africans. But you see, here in Kenya, you remember when that man from South Africa who used to do squats with a very big butt, when he came to Kenya, we were very happy to accommodate him. Ladies were paying 3,000 shillings just to go and watch that man with a very big butt from South Africa, and we never really, as Kenyans. In fact, I feel offended. I'm very offended because when people from other countries, when they come to Kenya, we treat them well. In fact, we treat them even better than the way they are being treated in their home countries. As Kenyans, we love foreigners. We love foreigners. Kenya is a haven of foreigners. But you see, it's unfortunate that when we go to their places, when we go to look for economic, opportunities outside the country, in other places, you find that, Kenyans are being mistreated alongside Ghanaians and Nigerians. That is really not fair. If you go to Nairobi today, you go to any town today, you find Burundians, Rwandans, Congolese selling shoes. You are a Congolese man from Congo, you're selling shoes in Kenya. You're a man from Rwanda, you're selling shoes in Kenya. You're a man from Burundi, you're selling groundnuts in Kenya. Mostly they love groundnuts. You're selling all these things in Kenya. Nobody is disturbing you. Nobody disturbs any foreign. In fact, this is a paradise for some of these people. All right. So when this story of xenophobic attacks against Ghanaians, they had to have something called repatriation flights back to Accra, which is not really which is not right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if Africans, we hate each other, what about other people from other continents? All right. So let us try to think about that, and let's try to rectify our own mistakes. Let's not turn against one another. Black is beautiful. Let's enjoy. At least we have something in common. Black, ladies and gentlemen, black is beautiful. So let's create opportunities for each other. We cannot afford to turn against brother or sister against sister. We have a very beautiful, wonderful opportunities. Let us try to maintain that cordial relationships. But we should not have embargoes in Africa. We should not have embargoes in Africa. Goods should move freely from Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, Democratic Republic of Congo, Zambia, Zimbabwe. We should be able to move freely without being harassed. I think that is what we need. That is what we need to first work on. All right. Any questions up to there? So that is the first issue. And I said that during the day, when you see me streaming, it will be for politics and other subjects, but at night or in the morning, we'll be reading the scripture. So this is the time for me to talk about politics and what is happening in Africa, maybe in Kenya and stuff like that, okay? So we will be discussing about, the impeachment of this man called Rigathi Gachagua. And the ruling came out, and of course, I've been watching the reactions from different people, and also reading the judgment, of which I'll take my time to read the judgment. I've not yet read the judgment. I just watched it on television. So the first thing that came out very clearly was the issue of is Parliament immune? That is the first question that came out very clearly in that judgment. So in that judgment, it means that Parliament and the Senate, they are not immune to a judicial review. You see, Parliament is not immune to a judicial review. All right, they're not immune to reproach. Are we together? So Parliament can make a decision, and a court of the High Court, a High Court judge can squash a decision made from Parliament. If anything that is not consistent with the Constitution is declared null and void. Are we together? That is the business of a court, a judge of the High Court. The law is very clear. Anything that is not consistent with the Constitution is null and void to the extent of the inconsistency. So whenever Parliament and any act or omission, here that is very, very, in actually, let's go to Article 2 of the Constitution, which says, of the Constitution of Kenya, we'll go very clearly. It talks about nullification of inconsistent laws. All right? That is nullification. Here, we are looking, the issue of the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua is, number one, we want to nullify that impeachment, that it's about nullification of some of the things that were not consistent with the Constitution. Let's go to Article 2, which says, any law, including customary law, that is inconsistent with this Constitution is void to the extent of the inconsistency, and any act or omission in contravention of this Constitution is invalid. Number one, the right of fair trial. Do you think Rigathi Gachagua was given that right? On the fateful day, and we are not even talking about the big issues. We are actually talking about the bare minimum. On that fateful day, it was very evident that this man was sick. And unfortunately, they wanted to prove that he was not sick, and they brought, Dr. Gikonyo to, they brought him, and he was questioned, which I thought that was preposterous. Are we together? So here, they wanted to poke holes to the fact that, they wanted to prove actually that Rigathi Gachagua was not sick. He was feigning sickness so that he can skip the hearing. Remember, in any hearing, the accused must be present in court. And in this particular issue, the Senate, he was supposed to be present in the Senate so that the Senate could deliver its judgment. Are we together? But on that fateful afternoon, Rigathi Gachagua complained of chest pains. Anybody can complain of chest pains. But nonetheless, Senate went ahead to impeach him, knowing well that he had, asked Senate that I would not be able to attend because this particular process is causing harm to me. But having that notwithstanding, Senate went ahead to impeach him. Nonetheless, is that the rule of law? Does that follow the principles of fair hearing? So, you see now, the judges, from the ruling, they agreed that indeed there was a miscarriage of justice, and they awarded him 50 million shillings. Now, if these judges already have admitted that there was a problem in this process until they awarded him 50 million shillings, and ladies and gentlemen, I want to explain to you why 50 million shillings is not enough for Mr. Rigathi Gachagua. I will explain to you right now why 50 million shillings is pocket change, is an insult to Mr. Rigathi Gachagua. Even if financially it's an insult. 50 million shillings, let's break it down. If he is supposed to live for the next 20 years, let's divide that. It means that every year, Rigathi Gachagua will have to spend 2 million shillings in every year, so that he can, in the next 25 years. All right. So in the next 25 years, it means that that's the budget. Rigathi Gachagua will spend 2 million shillings every year. That translates to around monthly. It's around 200,000. Okay, that is monthly. That is the budget they have set aside for Rigathi Gachagua. 200,000 monthly. That translates to 7,000 shillings, 6,000 shillings daily, and that translates to in 1 hour. in 1 hour, Rigathi Gachagua is being paid, roughly how much money? 300 shillings per hour. So that is, if you shrink that money in 1 hour, they are paying Rigathi Gachagua 300 shillings in 1 hour. All right, that is 50 million. If you now, that's a lump sum for 25 years. If you look at that money compared to what he did for the country, that would be an insult to this, this man who did, he who rendered his services to the country. Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment. The other issue here that was being discussed, for those who didn't watch the proceedings or who didn't watch the ruling, is the issue of participation. And I want to tell you very clearly what happened here in Machakos town. I will talk from what I witnessed personally during the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua. On that fateful day, ladies and gentlemen, the CDF offices were open. The CDF office was open. And there was heavy police presence on that fateful day. Now, but there was nobody talking. Can that be said? Can you say that is public participation? When there's heavy police presence, can you say that that is public participation? According to me, there was no public participation because, number one, the public was not aware that such an event was taking place at the CDF office because clearly no one attended. So, there was no public awareness, and the public was not invited to speak. All right. So, if you ask me genuinely whether there was, goodwill from those who are doing these things, I would say no. It was malicious compliance. They woke up very early, opened the offices, and they placed a lot of police pickups there, and there were so many policemen there on that fateful day, until everybody was scared. How can you call that? How can you call that public participation when the common mwananchi feels intimidated to say something? All right. So when you ask me genuinely if there was public participation on that particular day concerning the impeachment of Rigathi Gachagua, I will tell you there was no. The only thing that I've been asking people, do you believe that what were they scared about? Let me explain to you in details. If the court could have ruled in favor of Rigathi Gachagua, then it means that they would have to restore him back to his former office. He would have to go back and become the deputy president. Are we together? So that was the issue. It would cause a lot of disruption. It would cause a lot of a lot of stories. A lot of things would go wrong in a very short period of time. So here, in this decision, of course, the judges had to be political. I've heard so many people saying the same thing. They had to do a balance of probabilities and to see and to make. I was listening to this man who's called Dastan Omari. Said that decision was Solomonic, and that it considered many things. That decision, according to them, was a Solomonic decision. Do you think that decision was Solomonic? Do you think that decision was Solomonic? Of course, some people said that some of those judges, they ruled in favor of they were talking about there is external interference in the judiciary, that there are some elements of the executive, they have their hands very deep, they have their tentacles very deep in judiciary. Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment. Do you enjoy our streams? I'm very happy to be here this wonderful I will just be here for 1 hour in both of my channels. And tell me where you're watching me from. Another issue here that came out very clearly was that the public was not given enough time to analyze the grounds that were being brought or that were being leveled against, they were not given enough time. The public was just given 48 hours to go through all the charges that were leveled against the deputy president. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, is something that we call malicious compliance. Are we together? That is what we call in this particular issue. That is what is called malicious compliance. That you're given piles and piles of documents, and you're supposed to go through all the documents in 48 hours. Even if you're doing speed reading, Nobody could be able to achieve that kind of complexity in 48 hours. So if you ask yourself, was there malice or was it malicious in nature, what they did? Many people will say yes, there was malicious compliance when it came to how the speed of doing things, and how we were supposed to comply with the law in a very very limited time frame. He was, the way he was taken out of office. It was 2 weeks he was impeached by parliament, another 2 weeks he was impeached by senate, and in 2 weeks again the court had already ruled out of his, not in his favor, but they ruled. Everything was done in record speed. Within 1 month, the deputy president was impeached out of office and denied, entry, and everything was withdrawn. We're talking about bodyguards, everything was withdrawn within a month. So the speed at which it was done, the speed at which everything was achieved was questionable. That is exactly why when you ask people, was the process free and fair? Do you think, if you ask any layman, why were people not given an opportunity? Why were the people not given an opportunity to go through every charge leveled against the deputy president slowly? Why was this done very quickly? Why was this? Why was the public locked out of this process? And there are people who don't understand the legal jargon. Why were not people? Why was this language? Why were they using very difficult language such that the common, the common Kenyan could not understand what they were saying? Why was the language not diluted, or why was the language used in the impeachment? It could not. Nobody who did not go to law school, or people who don't read the law, no one could understand what was going on. So there was some kind of malicious compliance, on the part of those who are leveling charges against, Rigathi Gachagua. Now, also the other issue here is the issue of, I was not convinced on the issue of him amassing a lot of wealth. That was a ground that he was able to acquire so many properties within 2 years. And that was a ground that was brought to parliament the first time by Mutuse. By Mutuse, the member of parliament of Kibwezi West, Mwengi Mutuse, that he even listed, the properties that were acquired by Rigathi Gachagua within 2 years. He acquired hotels, he acquired land, he acquired so many things, and he went further and brought that and adduced that evidence in parliament. That, ladies and gentlemen, was not done in goodwill. That evidence that was brought to parliament was to whip emotions, was to turn the members of parliament against this man. And you see, ladies and gentlemen, you cannot take the case of the chicken to an eagle. You cannot take a case of the goats to a hyena. You cannot take, because you see there was a lot of conflict of interest. Are we together? So you say that when Mwengi Mutuse went, it's called Ecomas. It's called Ecomas. This man is called Ecomas. When Ecomas Mwengi Mutuse adduced evidence in parliament and told the parliamentarians that this man acquired properties, hotels, beach hotels, he acquired land, he did extra farming, he was doing wheat farming, he was doing maize farming and milling. And some of this, the evidence that was alluded in Parliament, it was voluminous in nature, all right? And the members of Parliament or any person or interested party did not have the time to go and verify or check whether the information that was being tabled in Parliament, whether the information was credible or not. So there was this issue of malicious compliance when it came to the person or the persons who brought the evidence in Parliament. There was that issue of malicious compliance. They are bringing in volumes and volumes of evidence. Who can counter-check? Who can say that this is true or this is false? The agenda of those who brought that evidence to Parliament was to whip emotions. And we saw it very clearly. All right? So this, this was, legal hooliganism. These are just hooligans who are given money. And there was a lot of money that was being given to parliamentarians, and that is not discussed. There was a lot of bribery. Why is it? In fact, I started wondering, why is it that they never brought to the attention of the court that some members of Parliament were being bribed? Number one, they were bribed and they were being bullied to vote to impeach even the deputy president. And that is a question that we need to check, because if you do your research, you realize that the late Olkalao parliamentarian who passed away, not Olkalao, from where? Was it Olkalao? It was not Olkalao. It was this man from Emukwa Dikir, MP. He was called, the one who died. I don't remember his name. He was called late MP. Let me check. Of Emukwa Dikir, okay? It was called Joanna Ngeno Kipiegon. This man from Emurwa Dikir, he was known as Johanna Kipngeno, said before he died, that is the people he confided to, he said that parliamentarians were being bullied to number one, to vote to impeach the what? The deputy president at that time. So there was a lot of bullying in Parliament, and there was a lot of pressure. But you see, nobody brought that evidence to court and said that, hey, parliamentarians were being bribed, they were being bullied. This is the evidence that, in fact, there was a lot of arm twisting, and there was also bribery. So that should have been brought to court. So if the judges themselves agree that there was a flaw, that the process was flawed, all right, they themselves agree. All right, that there was procedural impropriety. Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment and tell me where you are watching me from. I am your host, Raymond Mutuku, and welcome to this channel. And tell me where you are watching me from. Any questions up to that? Do you enjoy our channel? If you do enjoy our channel, subscribe and comment every single day. We want to talk about politics because, number one, you can never run away from politics. As much as people don't like politics, but you can never run away from politics. Politics will always come looking for you. Even if you run, you can never outrun politics. So politics, ladies and gentlemen, is not a waste of time. It is a way of life. So for those who don't like politics or think that, this man just loves politics, when you see, when good people are not interested in politics, when people who are learned are not interested in politics, they leave the work of legislation to people who are selfish. They leave the work of legislation to people who are not, who don't have who don't have the really the interest of the people at heart. So I always encourage my brothers and sisters that don't run away from the issues of politics. Don't run away from politics. Because if we pass laws that are not, that are, oppressive in nature, all right, we'll be the ones to. Any questions up to there? If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. And if you're new to this channel, feel free to be part and parcel every single day and tell me where you're watching me from. You can see the issue of Ebola. And the issue of Ebola is now making us, we are becoming, it was because it was ratified by Parliament in 2015. That agreement was ratified by Parliament in 2015. So it is these parliamentarians who approved that contract or that agreement between Kenya and the US. So now, because of that agreement that was ratified by Parliament in 2015, that is why, ladies and gentlemen, that Laikipia Air Base has been chosen to host the patients of Ebola. It is not because, there are many politicians who want to make Ebola their favorite political vehicle. There are many politicians out there who want to tag along Ebola, who want to divide Kenyans on the basis of Ebola, who are trying to politicize Ebola. They're saying that, people have been paid a lot of money to allow Ebola to come into the country. That is the narrative that they are saying. But that, ladies and gentlemen, is misinformation. And Kenyans, the reason why there's so much panic in our country, the reason why there's a lot of chaos, people are going to the streets, is because of misinformation. Ladies and gentlemen, the parliamentarians, mostly from from Laikipia, they're saying that 1.7 billion shillings was given to Kenyans to allow for this Ebola to come into the country. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is not true. The reason why Kenya has been chosen to host some of these Ebola patients is because in Parliament, this started in Parliament. That is why Parliament is silent. It was ratified. There's an agreement that was ratified in Parliament between Kenya and the US that allows such kind of an event to take place. This is not really a deal between Trump. This has nothing to do with Donald Trump. There are people who want to bring the name of Donald Trump into Ebola. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say it very clearly that there are people who want to, they're saying that it is Donald Trump who is forcing Kenyans to accept Ebola, which is not true. This is a legal agreement between Kenya and the US, and it was ratified in the parliament. So, in fact, this agreement was ratified in Parliament even before Donald Trump was elected as the president of the US. So, this, ladies and gentlemen, is another cycle of misinformation by people who have selfish interests. Any questions out there? There's another argument out there that they are saying that Ebola, Ruto wants to bring Ebola into the country because he wants to finish the Kikuyu population. That is not true. That is misinformation by some selfish politicians. As I've said, that there was an agreement that was ratified in the Kenyan parliament between Kenya and the US, and this has nothing to do with Donald Trump. Donald Trump is not forcing Kenyans to accept Ebola. Is not forcing Ebola down our throats. That is the kind of narrative that they're trying to sell. If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment and tell me where you're watching me from wherever you're watching me. Welcome. I am your host, Raymond Mutuku, and I'm very happy that you're watching me in both of my channels. I want to welcome you tonight. We'll be streaming for the next 1 hour, and because I did not stream on the weekend, and I did not stream on Monday. So today I will have to cover, what I did not do. So forgive me for those who missed me. I know some people missed me. They did not see me. But I'm back, and I hope that any questions up there, feel free to subscribe and comment. I'm very happy to be here. Any questions? Do you enjoy our channel? Do you enjoy our channel? Welcome to this channel. I'm so happy to be here. And feel free to join us every single day. Any questions? Where's my pen? So we are saying that that package, in fact, I was watching yesterday that there are some senators who are saying that, of course, this 50 million shillings has to go to Senate to be debated. There are some senators who are saying that 50 million shillings is a lot of money, but it's not really a lot of money, considering the services he has rendered to this country. And this is not a question of, it is not a question of whether I like him or I don't like him. No. Whether he's a good man or not a good man. No. This is a question of, the rule of law. Are we together? This is a question of rule of law. This is a question of, people should not be denied the fundamental rights that are enshrined in the Constitution. Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment and tell me where you're watching me from. Are you new to this channel? If you're new to this channel, join us every single day, because every accused person has a right of a fair trial. Any questions up there? Feel free to subscribe and comment. And I'm very happy to be here every single day. Any questions? Any questions? You see, politics, ladies and gentlemen, is life. Politics, ladies and gentlemen, is life, and let us accept. Let us accept. Any questions? If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. And do you enjoy our channels? Join us every Sunday. Join us every day to this. You see, ladies and gentlemen, they are saying, and I want to just inform my listeners that impeaching of the president or impeaching of the deputy president is a constitutional process. All right? It's a constitutional process, and the procedure has been laid, bare. The procedure is there for everyone to know. Now, impeaching of a governor is a statutory process. Are we together? Any questions up to there? Feel free to subscribe and comment. Any questions before I leave? I'm very happy to be here. Did you enjoy our channel? I'm very happy to be here. Any questions before I go? Any questions before I go? We'll continue in the next stream, and we will read from the scripture. All right? We'll read from the scripture, and and I think I should come up with a new plan. That is, there's streams for politics and there's streams for reading the scripture, right? So, like for example, during the day, like even in the evening time, we'll be talking politics. Like if the evening tea, your favorite evening tea, will be talking politics. We'll be discussing what is happening on the ground, and in the morning, for those who are following this channel, in the morning we'll be reading the scripture. So there will be a program for politics that is in the evening. We'll be talking politics, but in the morning we'll be talking the scripture. Any questions up to there? I want to go somewhere very quickly. I'm expected somewhere, but for those who say that 2027 is a sure bet, I don't think so. I don't think so. One of the things that people have not really talked about, and I will talk about here, is that as from today, Rigathi Gachagua and his party will start receiving a lot of money. There will be a lot of sympathizers. Now, let me tell you something for those who care to listen. And don't worry, let me just... Oh, sorry. I have to go and do something. As I was saying, what will happen in the near foreseeable future is that there will be a lot of money. One of the things has been left unsaid, all right, is that now there's a lot of money that will go to the direction of DCP. And now let me assure you, because now they will be very aggressive than before. All right? The DCP part now, I want you to just let you know for the purposes of knowledge and for the purposes of, safekeeping of information, is that now they'll be very, very aggressive in the collection, number one, collection of money. All right? It will be like, and I'm sorry to say this, it will be like Mungiki, like not Mungiki exactly, but some kind of Mount Kenya mafia, they'll be coming for you and tell you, what, we want some money. Yeah. So DCP now will become very, very strong in central Kenya. And for the people who are from central, who will be candidates using the UDA party, mostly, and I'll tell you for free, those who are in central Kenya, from all the way from every part of central, even Kirugoya, all the places, all the places. All the places from even up to Kandara, up to Meru, Embu, Meru, Maua, Chuka, all the way, you're talking about all the way, from all these areas, there will be a wave, there will be a wave of, DCP. DCP will come with a lot of, vengeance, from Meru to Embu to Kirinyaga, all these places, they will be all the way from Meru, Embu, Kirinyaga. There will be, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a wave of DCP. And definitely DCP will align with Wiper Democratic Party. So maybe for those who have been following, maybe one of the biggest beneficiaries, I will not say Kalonzo is a beneficiary. If you have been following this channel, you will see me. I'm very, very careful to say that they are beneficiaries. No. I don't want to say there will be beneficiaries because, number one, it will be an empty it will be an empty it will be an empty support. Even if they say, okay, Kalonzo Tosha, but money is not accompanying Kalonzo Musyoka. That would be null and void. Yes, they have said Kalonzo Tosha, but money is not accompanying Kalonzo. Do you understand? That is where the problem is. Because even if they say Kalonzo Tosha, but when money is not accompanying the Kalonzo Tosha, are we together? Being on the ballot is not the issue. Being who is the presidential candidate is not the issue. Whether ODM supports us is not the issue. The issue is when they say Kalonzo Tosha, or when they say so and so Tosha, does money accompany that kind of support? Is money also following that Tosha? When they say Kalonzo Tosha, are they also supporting him financially? Any questions up there? Feel free to subscribe and comment. I'm very happy and I'm very humbled to be here. Do you want us to do another hour? Do you enjoy our streams? I'm very happy to be here, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our streams. I'm blessed to be here. Any questions? Any questions up there? If you're new to this channel, subscribe and comment. I'm blessed. It has been a wonderful 1 hour. And, that is the issue here. In fact, I was discussing this with my friends, and I was telling them, and I will tell them, and I will share that information to you this wonderful evening. And they thought I was happy of this outcome. But I want to say one or two things concerning this particular impeachment case and why I'm not very excited about it. And they're saying, now since you come from Ukambani, you must be very happy that Kalonzo Musyoka now has been given like the go-ahead to go against William Ruto. Now, now Kambas are like so excited. No, that would be malicious. We are not malicious. That would be unfair. We are not unfair. All we are saying is, even if you are saying Kalonzo Tosha, because I know some people are saying now Wiper will become strong in 2027. It's not about Kalonzo Musyoka. We are just asking, if they say Kalonzo Tosha, will that Kalonzo Tosha be accompanied by financial support? Will we get, or will it be empty Tosha? Are people willing to, are we the winning horse? That is the question that we'll be asking. And feel free to subscribe and comment. And if you ask me, in fact, this is what I always, in fact, right now I'm going to, for more politics, in fact, I always tell people that I'm a political animal, don't blame me. Where there's politics, you'll find Raymond, and where there's Raymond, you'll find politics. You cannot separate Raymond and politics. We are like carrots and peas. You cannot separate Raymond and politics. Where there's Raymond, there's politics. Where there's politics, there's Raymond. You cannot separate Raymond and politics. We are like carrots and peas. All right? Carrots and peas. You cannot separate Raymond and the law. You cannot separate Raymond and the scripture. So where there is discussion of the scripture, you'll find Raymond. Where there is discussion of the law, you'll find Raymond. That's where you find me. I want you to know where you'll find me. All right? So if either I'm in a political meeting, discussing politics, or discussing the scripture, that is who I am. And I'm very happy to be here. Any questions up to there? Any questions up to there? Any questions up to there? I want to go. Did you enjoy our streams? Feel free every day to join us every day. I want to, for those who are new to this channel, don't be surprised. Here we talk politics, until, I remember when I was growing up, on Sundays, and this is the reason why I love politics. On Sunday, I used to be waking up very early in the morning to go and buy the Sunday Nation. And in the Sunday Nation, I would read the articles of people like, this man, Nasir Abdullahi. I would just read the article of Nasir Abdullahi, the article of Makao Mutua, and I would jokingly tell my dad, you know what? Have you read he would ask me, have you read the newspaper? I said, yes. Which article did you like? I liked only the article of Nasir Abdullahi. I used to take the whole newspaper like this, only read. I would go, he was at the center of the newspaper. At the center of the newspaper, like let's say this is a newspaper, and at the center of the newspaper there was Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi. That was back in the year 2004. I would read the only Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, because it was like the newspaper is like this. It was Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi here and Makau Mutua at the bottom, at the other corner. So I would just read Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi before giving him the newspaper. You tell me, I'm waiting for you to give me the newspaper. I'm like, just give me a minute. Then I would read the story of Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, and then I would return and then he said, but I'm the one who sent you for the newspaper. I'm the one who's supposed to read it first. I said, oh, just wait. Let me first read what Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi said. And I would read what Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi said, and I would tell him, that's it. He said, I've already read the newspaper. You're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I said, I just wanted to know what Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi said. And that's it. You would ask me, don't you care what other people say? I said, no, I don't really, I don't want to read what others say. I just wanted to read what Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi had to say. And you see people like Ahmed Nasir Abdullahi, such people are the ones who shaped the legal world, in the last 20 years. In the last 20 years, all these constitutional reforms, all these reforms were brought by people who had the nation at heart. If you talk about constitutional reforms, that team was brought about. The people who were in that team. I remember even in that constitutional reforms, one of the persons was Dr. Willie Mutunga. He was in that team. Willie Mutunga was there in that team. This man called, there's some people who are in that team. All right. So any questions up to there? I really appreciated your time. Maybe we'll go. You want us to go for another hour? All right. Arrivederci.